79% of the money and the $2 billion spent. Good idea to have wind turbines here. Have been used to purchase things overseas. We have an amazing opportunity with the stimulus money to have a green manufacturing stimulated here in the United States. Let me talk a little bit about our jobs agenda here in the Congress, in the Senate. First, to me, this is me, the message of Massachusetts was pretty clear. Some on the right would tell you it's don't do health care. I don't believe that. In fact, the exit polls show more than 50% of the people in Massachusetts wanted us to continue doing health care. But they did say, listen to us. The number one thing we care about is jobs, the economy, and helping the middle class stretch that paycheck, which is really they're having a rough time right now doing it. And the public nothing gets them more upset when they think their political leaders are not following what they want. They don't expect us to do miracles. They understand government is limited in what it can do. But they sure want us to try, and they sure want us to focus. And so what we've done here, at least as a Democratic Party in the Senate, is to pivot. And we've been focusing on jobs right now on the floor, and it's had real effect. First, we did the HIRE Act. That was modest, but it included a year extension of the highway bill so we could have public construction jobs, the old Rooseveltian way of doing things. It had a tax credit, payroll tax holiday for any new worker that's hired. We dealt with all the ways in the past that companies got around it by saying their employment had to actually increase. They couldn't fire one person and then hire another person and use the tax credit. No net new jobs. We also dealt with some of the infrastructure bank issues so that states could continue to fund public works. It was small, but it was a little bit of a change here in the Congress. Because what did the Republicans do? They didn't block it. They joined us, and it passed 70 to 28. And it said something. When we focus on jobs, we've got them on the run. And so we have not just a jobs bill, but a jobs agenda. Today, again, the old filibuster. Last year they filibustered everything. They filibuster assistant secretaries of defense. But we brought a second and larger jobs bill to the floor. And we're going to vote on it, I think, at 2:15, 2:30. They're not blocking it. We got 66 votes yesterday. Enough, of course, to overcome cloture. And that included, I think, 8 or 9 Republicans. This one's a little larger. It includes a UI extension, unemployment extension for a whole year. Now, I travel around my state. There was an article in the Washington Post that burnt me up yesterday. No offense, Ezra, you didn't write it. We don't have guilt by association. But it basically said, oh, if we extend unemployment benefits, lots of people will stop looking for work. I've been around my state. It is heartbreaking. Every place I go, I look for people who are looking for work. Here's what I find. First, it affects all economic levels. Low economic levels, middle economic levels, even upper income economic levels. The anguish that people have. And they're looking and looking and looking for not months, but years. Lady sticks in my head. I think of it before I go to sleep at night sometimes. A nice 55-year-old lady from Webster, a suburb of Rochester. She was number 2 or number 3 in human resources in Xerox. I'd worked there 25 years. She didn't have a family. This was her life. She was fired 2 years ago. She has been looking 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. She told me she even was online Christmas Day looking for jobs. She can't find them. To tell these people they can't get their unemployment benefits and live is inhumane. And so we're extending them for a year, not 3 months. We're extending COBRA, which allows people to extend and buy into their health benefits. And the third part of the package, which is very important, we never thought we'd get this 2-3 months ago, is an FMAP extension, Medicaid relief extension to the states. Because if we're doing things to start hiring people, it's a little bit like Byron's bathtub and drain. He always has great analogies. He told that story by Agdanesh, you know, his humor is modest but funny. He taught me Norwegian jokes. We don't have too many Norwegians in Brooklyn, so I didn't learn too many of these. My favorite is, how do you tell an outgoing Norwegian? Someone who looks at your shoes when he's talking to you. He did. I'm giving you credit.
I can learn a four-line poem better.
Yes, I can't. I can only learn that one. In any case, FMAP is also part of the drain, because if we're getting private sector to start hiring people, but the states and localities are laying off teachers and police officers and firemen and social workers, we're not accomplishing anything. So FMAP, which was very successful in the stimulus, in the arrow, we're not supposed to call it the stimulus, when another is going to go another 6 months. And the next thing we're going to turn to are small businesses, which is an engine of job creation, are telling us they can't get credit. The banks are not lending them money. So we're going to have a program that would tap the unused TARP money to create a fund for small business lending, where the banks won't put it on their balance sheet, because you give the money to the banks and it never comes out. They're all putting money in to just keep it. And the point I guess I'd make here is a political point. We have the Republicans on the run when we focus on jobs, the middle class, and the economy. They think they can get away with blocking health care. I think they're wrong. But they don't even think they can get away with blocking jobs. And so we're going to keep at it. You're going to see jobs programs every couple of weeks coming out of this caucus, and I believe they're going to pass. And we're going to show the American people that we hear them, that we know they're hurting, that we know they have to turn things around. And I think part of this also was because Jeff Merkley was one of the people involved here, and my roommate Dick Durbin. We held Senator Bunning up on the floor, and now we're telling the Republicans we're going to hold up the light, the candlelight to them whenever they try to filibuster, and they're going to have to be here nights and all the time. My committee, Rules Committee, is going to start doing hearings on how to undo the filibuster rule, and I think it's possible. You got to look at the history and be very careful and be very legally right, but we can do it, I believe, and we're going to make some real progress here. So we are feeling pretty good now. We're feeling things are turning around. The Democratic Party is doing what it should do, talking to working families about what bothers them. We're not going to stop all the way through November of 2010, where we're going to surprise people. Thank you.
Now we know, Ed.